Hey, what's up? My name is J.M. Chaley and welcome to my channel. This week I want to talk about querying. I have started querying. I started querying in the last week of March and I've been querying through April. Prior to querying, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of AuthorTube, I did some web searches. I learned a lot of stuff, but I didn't learn all the bits up to it. And I kind of walked in and was blindsided by some of the stuff I ran across. Now, part of that's on me. I probably didn't do enough of my research and I got myself in the position that I did. That's no one's fault but mine. So I'm putting this video together so it'll be a very straightforward, this is what you should expect, here's what you should do kind of thing. There are a few different ways to find agents. One of the most popular ones is to go to Query Tracker. So let's take a look at Query Tracker. Query Tracker is a database to find agents. A brief overview on this is pretty simple. You have a list of agents. This just dumps everyone they have. You can do some search on them. You can do some filtering. Now, unless you have the premium package, you're pretty limited in what you can filter on. So you can find your genre, and I'll just say, for the sake of the example, that my genre is horror, which it is not, but I've already edited the hell out of the fantasy genre in my own search, so let's get a nice clean version going. And right off the bat, you see a bunch of different agents and the agency they represent. Now, what I like about Query Tracker is that it lists the agency in alphabetical order, not the agent. So let's say you submit to Bill over at AM Heath. There's 3 total agents that work for AM Heath. If you submit to one, you're not going to want to submit to the other 2. That is not cool. So it lets you know, oh, I can skip these 2 because I've just submitted to Bill, providing the Bill is the best match for your work in progress, and I'll get to that in a minute. The other thing we can tell about Bill is that he's only taking queries via an online form, and he lives in the United Kingdom. So you can tell a little bit about what each agent is looking for and how to get in touch with them from this main screen. This person is not accepting queries at this time. These are in America. Okay, here we go. This agent, Annette, is looking to accept queries from snail mail or email. So it changes with who you are working with. Now let's say you want to query Annette. Click on her name and you can go in here and see if she's a good fit by checking out the website and seeing her details and seeing if she's a good match for your book. If she is, you might want to add her to your query list. If she's not, you could say do not query. And that'll put a little X next to her name. But let's pretend she's a good fit for you. Add her to your query list. Now you go through, and let's say for the sake of argument, you send her an email with your query letter and the other things that she's looking for. Then you can come in here and change this. Boink. Send her an email. Save. Boom. Now when you go back in here, it shows that you've sent Annette an email and started your query process with her. Now, people are going to ask for different things depending on what they want. Some people want an online form, some people want email, some people want snail mail. And the criteria that they're looking for is also going to be different. When I first came into this, I thought, oh, you send an email. I didn't know about the online forms. That's on me. So let's talk about that. So here's an example of what a typical online form will look like. They want to know some information about you. They want to know if you've been published or represented before. They want to know about your book. This is all easy stuff that is on every single form that I've seen with very little exceptions. You should know all this information. You should have all this information. It shouldn't be a problem. Then use your query letter. If you're querying, you should have your query letter. That shouldn't be a problem. Then they come in and they ask for certain other things. In this case, this agent is asking for 5 pages of your book. Sometimes they want 10. I saw one that wanted 20. Some people want the first chapter of your book or the first 3 chapters of your book. These should be pasted in here in manuscript format, meaning double-spaced, indented at every paragraph. They want them in the way that your manuscript would look if you're submitting a manuscript in full version. So when they ask for 5 pages, that's 5 pages double-spaced, 12-point font. And there's a section for artists and illustrators. If you're doing nonfiction, they almost always ask for the entire book proposal. But for me, I'm a fiction writer. There's other things that people ask on the online form, and this varies between different agents. Some people want your bio. Some people want a pitch, a 1-sentence word explaining your book. Some want a target demographic that you're looking to sell to. But what really got me, what I wasn't prepared for, was the synopsis. I didn't know about the synopsis, and it bit me on the ass. I found a lot of agents that were good matches for my book. They were looking for the same kind of stuff that I had, and they wanted a synopsis. So I did a little bit of research, and I put a synopsis together, which is basically a blow-by-blow, play-by-play rundown of your entire book, and it gives away all the spoilers, all the plot lines, and everything like that. Now these synopses, I'm a writer, are supposed to be like 2 pages. So you're gonna cut out all sorts of stuff that's not part of the main big deal of your book, the main plot. So the side plots, little side romances, little dialogue, like all that stuff, forget about it. Just concentrate on the big bullet items and move through. Now, this isn't a video on how to write a synopsis, but that's what I kind of had to throw together. Stop my querying and research this and threw it together. Another reason why I'm doing this video, so that you don't run into the same problem that I did and not be prepared. One of the other things they may ask you is what similar titles your book may be like. Now that may be in your query letter. Sometimes it is. But if it isn't, because I couldn't think of any book titles that were similar to mine, to be honest, I had to go out and do a little bit of research and figure out books that were similar to mine in terms of setting, plot, whatever. So you should have that in your back pocket just in case. There's also what I like to call kind of whimsy questions, where they want to kind of get to know you. And they may ask things like, what kind of music do you listen to when you write? Or who's your favorite fictional character? Or who are some of your favorite authors? These questions are usually optional. You'll see a lot of the fields in the online form are required. You have to fill them out. But these kind of playful questions, these get to know you kind of questions, are almost always optional. I would take a stab at them because the agent is engaging you for a reason. They want to figure out if you're a good match for them, not just in the content of your work, but maybe just you as a person. And you should take every opportunity to endear yourself to them that you possibly can. Speaking of endearing yourself to people, if you're enjoying this video, please smush that like button and subscribe. It helps me out so much. On the email form, they're going to ask similar things, but really not as much that I've seen. Usually what they ask for is your query letter and a synopsis and or a various amount of your book. 5 pages, first few chapters, 10 pages, whatever. That with a synopsis or only with the chapters, whatever, some combination thereof. They don't want to know all the whimsy kind of questions and all the particulars and pitches and stuff like that. The email submission guidelines of each agent are usually more straightforward. But I'm going to halt right there, because the first thing you should do is ignore what I'm telling you and pay attention to what the agent is telling you. I'm telling you kind of a general, this is usually what they expect, usually what they ask for. Every agent has their own criteria of what they want, their submission guidelines. Now you can go into an agent's webpage and see what the agent is looking for. It'll tell you their background, their education. Hopefully it'll tell you their manuscript wish list, where they'll talk about very specific genres, very specific niches that they might be looking for. I'm looking for a book like this. They'll list off a title, or they'll say, I would like a book with an LGBTQ plus romance in it, or they'll call out very specific tropes that they're looking for. All that stuff is great. You want to dig into the agent's profile page, but don't stop there. Go into the submissions guideline of the agency's page. Sometimes there's a general submission guideline for all the agents, but sometimes each agent has their own preference. So it may direct you back to the agent to see what their submission guidelines are, but check both. If there's a conflict between the two, and I've seen the conflict, I have erred on the side of caution and deferred to what the particular agent is asking for submission guidelines rather than the agency itself. Again, I'm new at this, but that's what made sense to me. Now, what are some of the guidelines? Some of the guidelines are, I want this in the subject line of my email if you're submitting to email. I want the word query. I want the title of your book. I want your last name. That's an example, and you better put it like that. And they'll tell you, if you don't submit within these guidelines, I'm just going to hit delete. Because you can imagine, these guys get inundated with so many queries, and if they've got to sort through stuff, or maybe they've got some sort of email script that can scrape all this kind of data and compile it for them, and it makes it easier if they have like tags in the subject line that they can find very easily, it behooves you to know what they're looking for. So if they ask you for very specific stuff, make sure you find that very, very specific stuff. So that about wraps it up. Querying and submitting queries. Everyone wants something different. Most people want a lot of the same things, but take the time to do the research for every single agent and be armed with all the things that they may want from you. Believe me, you're going to be doing a lot of cutting and pasting. I'm still submitting. I have not gotten a lot of feedback. I have gotten some. I got my first rejection. But I'm going to keep querying, and I'm going to let you know how it's going with my updates and whatnot. And as I learn more about this process, I will share my information with you so that we can all grow as a community and maybe benefit from my mistakes or my successes. If you like this video, please smush that like button, and as always, subscribe. I post every Thursday, and you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also read the first chapter of my book, A Flower in Hell, on jmchaley.com. Check it out, send me a message, join my newsletter. It's a good time. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.